Welcome to Benny versus the Penny. Here's your host, big bloviating Ben Maller.
Well, thank you very much, Tomm Looney. It's an honor to be here as we have a global audience on Benny versus the Penny. If you're new, we've been here all season. We were here last week. We get to the Thursday game. We handicap that usually on Wednesday night into Thursday. And then this is the full version, all the key matchups in the NFL. We break them down. I've been doing the Benny versus the Penny for a long time. I've been with Tomm Looney for several years now. We were on television. Now we're here on the YouTube, which I'm
platform now. We're off rinky-dink cable, and now we're on a worldwide streaming platform.
Yes, you keep telling me that my paycheck does not quite look the same, but that's a different situation, Tom. So before we get into the games, now the way this is going to work, we flip the penny up in the air. If it lands on heads, it's the home team. If it lands on tails, it's the road team. Before we get to the games and all that, let's look back.
That's how it works, and that's what it will look like, Big Ben. And congratulations on your NFL Week 1 victory over the brainless Penny. Ben, you had 10 wins, 6 losses. The Penny, last year's champion, but we won't mention that, had 6 wins and 10 losses. A lot of great matchups and storylines heading into Week 2. Penny, for your thoughts.
Well, the first thing, Tom, is Murphy's Law. I guess we can call it Maller's Law. If I had started this way last year, a 10-6 is a 625 winning percentage against the spread. And keep in mind, I had some bad beats this weekend. I lost the Steelers Jets game and the Bucks Falcons game by a half point. So I lost 2 games by a half point. I was on the wrong side of the Ravens. They lost. They blew a 15-point lead. So there's 3 games right there that I shoulda, coulda won that I didn't, and that would have been a 13-3 week. But I'll take 10-6 against the spread because it was pure chaos. On my first thought, pure chaos out there in Week 1. You know, this guy, I was a little kid, and I used to listen on the radio at night, and he said the chaos theory of the universe. I forget who that was.
Hey, that's me.
Oh, is that you? Oh, your radio's Tomm Looney. So in Week 1, if you just bet on the games the public liked, the public against the spread went 3-13. So we outperformed. I did, not the penny, but I outperformed the penny by 7 games, I believe. So it was really terrible. Even the biggest favorites, 0-5, the most bet lopsided favorites by the public last week went 0-5 against the spread. So the moral of that story: avoid the public. Now, Spitgate, Tom, is over. That's another one of my thoughts. According to Nick Sirianni, the head coach in Philadelphia, he says they've closed the door, internal discipline against Jalen Carter, who also was fined by the NFL. So he spit a giant loogie on Dak Prescott. And it brings me back, Tom, to one of my favorite stories about Jimmy Johnson. I don't know if you heard the story back in the 90s with the Cowboys. You maybe heard it a few minutes ago. I don't know.
Story?
Yeah. So Jimmy Johnson, he was asked by a reporter, it says, are you going to treat, your players the same? If what would happen if Troy Aikman, fell asleep in a meeting compared to some third string lineman? And Jimmy Johnson, without missing a beat, he's retired now, but Jimmy Johnson, without missing a beat, said, absolutely not. I would not treat them the same. He said, if I found a third string lineman who was sleeping in a team meeting, I would cut him. I would fire him immediately. If Troy Aikman in that same meeting had dozed off because he was too tired, I would gently wake him up and I would ask Aikman if I could bring him a nice cup of coffee. So you got to love that. And my final thought, speaking of the Cowboys, how about Brian Schottenheimer, who sent a message out that was a cryptic message? Schottenheimer saying that he needs full commitment from the Cowboys. And it was a vague term. However, internet investigators went back and they looked at the tape. They're pretty confident, Tom. They're pretty confident that Schottenheimer was pointing the finger at George Pickens, the former Pittsburgh Steeler player who was spotted taking some plays off by internet investigators in the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Enough of that, though, Tom. Let's get to the games.
Let's do it. Philadelphia, Kansas City, Missouri. A big game on the Big Fox with Kevin Burkhardt and Tommy Brady calling the game. And put this in the Museum of Hard to Believe next to Elton John's ex-wife. Chiefs getting points. KC getting 1.5.
Well, just to touch up your work a little bit, Tom, here's how odd this is. Patrick Mahomes, 68 career home starts in his career for Kansas City. He has closed an underdog one time.
Wow.
Only one time. That was way back in 2022. I barely remember that against the Buffalo Bills. So this is going to be the second time. That's it in Mahomes' career that he's going to be an underdog. And I totally get it. I get it. Kansas City, I'm going to take the Eagles in this game. Kansas City lacking explosive plays. They will be better at home. However, Rashee Rice is not going out there. Xavier Worthy is not going to be playing. So that means Mahomes has to be consistently sharp throughout the game. You're talking about long 10-play plus drives where you're just getting short plays. You're not getting those chunk plays. Very methodical on offense. And I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't look all that great themselves against the Cowboys, but I think Philadelphia. Jalen Carter is going to play. He will disrupt the middle of the field for the Eagles.
You're becoming more of a believer in the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
It's a penny.
Go. The penny.
Toss the coin in that fountain. Depending on heads, Penny going with the home team. Benny going with the visiting Eagles.
All right. Where are we going now, Tom? Where are we headed?
New England Patriots at Miami, Dolphins, Miami, Florida, home of nude beaches. Very sexy city with a football team that makes their fans go soft. PU, what stinks? That's the Dolphins. Patriots getting half a point.
Yeah, so historically, if you look at this matchup, you would take Miami because this is the one matchup Tua Tagovailoa is like Dan Marino when he plays the New England Patriots. 7 career starts for Tua against the Patriots. Here's my fun fact on this, Tom. 7 career starts. Tua is 7-0 straight up and against the spread.
Whoa.
And against the rest of the NFL, he is 27, 29, and 1. He has a losing record against the spread against every other team in the NFL combined. But against the Patriots, he's 7-0. But I'm taking the Patriots. Why, Tom? I'll tell you why. Because Miami is a ooey-gooey mess right now. You got the hipster coach, Mike McDaniel, who's seemingly drowning on the sidelines. The offensive line dinged up in the middle. I'm envisioning, as a distant relative of Nostradamus and friend of Nostradamus, I'm envisioning Harold Landry of the Patriots just causing nightmares for Tua Tagovailoa here in this particular matchup. We know Tua goes into panic mode when he does not get his first read here. And New England did do a good job. One of the few things they did well last week was box up the running game of the Raiders here. So you take away the running game, you put it all on Tua here. Drake May's obviously got to do well in the red zone. I'm not a fan of Drake May. But again, I'm betting more against Miami than I am on New England. So I'll take the New England Patriots to get it done and stand pat with them. What about the penny?
Okay, let's check. Shout out to the men and women working on business. Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the visiting Patriots, as is big, bloviating Ben Maller.
I got to tell you, Tom, we're going to lose some of our team to Mr. Beast. Once Mr. Beast sees the quality of this YouTube show, we're going to start losing production people. All right, what's next, Tom? What do we have here?
Seattle at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, childhood home of Andy Warhol and a meat and potatoes football team that was never over the years as colorful as Andy's artwork, and they're still not. Seattle Seahawks getting 3.
Yeah, so this game on Fox, Adam Amin, Tom, has the call with Mark Sanchez, the man most.
Mark Sanchez is a really, really good color commentator. Very good.
Really? I always have the mute button on when he talks. Anyway, so the Steelers offense was obviously in rhythm. They were in rhythm in terms of the point total last week against the Jets. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, they actually, yardage-wise, they weren't all that great. Seattle's defense gave up a bunch of chunk plays against the 49ers, if you had a chance to watch that game, which I know you did, Tom. I know you were watching that game. The Seahawks also had some issues in the red zone defending Brock Purdy, who's now hurt for the 49ers. And you got to think that outside of some shocking adjustment here, that Aaron Rodgers is going to feast on these mismatches here. So I am going to take the Yinzers in this game. And yet again, common theme here, I'm betting more against Sam Darnold. So I'm more against Sam Darnold, who suffers from a chronic case of TTS. You know what that is, Tom?
TTS. What's that?
tight Tuchus syndrome. Does not do very well in these kind of situations. The Seahawks offensive line is not very good, which means, in theory, a mediocre Steeler defense. That's how they played last week. But TJ Watt should be able to have some success here. And it's true, the Steelers defense overall was not great. There's also a body clock advantage here. The Seahawks, a West Coast team, heading to the East Coast. That early game, 1 o'clock Eastern, which is 10.
You think that'll be a problem? They didn't take a stagecoach to the game.
Oh, right? No, Tom. As I understand it, they had to walk. They actually had to walk all the way from Seattle. They started 12
Let me
days.
say this about TJ Watt. He gives you a good 10 games a year. He really does.
He's really good. That's not a bad take. All right, so I'm taking the Steelers. What about the penny?
Okay, heads home team. Tails for victory. Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the away team. Ben with the home team here in this situation. Ben, this is where we do what's called a reset in the broadcast business, where we ask people to spread the word and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take it away, Ben.
Yes, please help us out. If you like the video, click the subscribe button. Let somebody know. This is a pirate ship, Tom. This is the ultimate mom and pop business. We went from having the power of the national broadcasting company, NBC, propping us up. And
we had parking spots right next to some of the biggest bigwigs like Punky Brewster and Lester Holt.
we hung out near the soundstage where they filmed Frasier. And now, Tom, here we are. So we do need your help to grow the audience here. And so we're already adding viewers every week. So it's a slow, methodical process to get the numbers where we want them to be. But let's get back to the games, Tom.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go to, shall we? Oh, Arlington, Texas, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, your favorite Joe Davis calling the game on the Big Fox with some dumb jock. Giants getting 5.5 points in a division game.
Well, one of the great stories, Tom, about Greg Olson is doing this game for Fox, and it's one of my favorite Tom Looney stories. Do you remember when we were doing the Blitz on Fox Sports Radio and we had Greg Olson as a guest? He was playing for the Carolina Panthers. Do you remember this?
Yes, so, I looked him up. I always look guests up on Wikipedia and grab something obscure from their background.
Yeah, so Tom was,
what a great rapper he was, not realizing he got suspended in college for his rap album full of N-words and F-words. I forgot to keep reading. I just saw rapper and went with it, and then later realized why he wasn't thrilled.
It was both awkward and beautiful at the same time. So it was really good. But as far as the game is concerned, Tom, on Penny versus the Penny, New York was absolutely as good as they've been for years. Horrific on offense last week. And the good thing is they weren't much better on defense. If it wasn't for the Washington penalties last week, they had 12 penalties, the Commanders last week. That game would have been even worse. And Russell Wilson gets another chance after riding the vomit comet. He struggles, and Jackson Dart, the rookie, is waiting in the wings in this game. But the recipe, to me, is not that complex, right? The execution is obviously the problem here. You need to have sustained drives. I'm going to do something that I like. I don't like either one of these teams, but I'm going to take the Giants in this game. I just can't lay 5.5 with the Cowboys. I know they have a rest advantage. They played last Thursday, and now they play here on this weekend against the Giants. But if you look at it, this is a stunning factoid. The last 20 years, teams that are on 9 or more days rest facing a team on 8 days rest or less in week 2 have only a 38% winning percentage against the spread. So it's shockingly bad. You'd think that would be much worse. The Cowboys secondary is not great. Listen, I just think it'll be a close game. It'll be an ugly game. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to cover my eyes, Tom, and try not to puke in my mouth. I'm going to take the Giants plus the 5.5. What about the penny?
The games between the Giants and Cowboys have been traditionally dull over the years. So,
At TV. Let's see, this is not bad.
Penny landing on heads. Penny taking the home. Cowboys. Benny taking the points. with the
Okay, so
visiting
we
Giants.
go from the Giants and the Cowboys. Where are we headed now?
Oh, Buffalo at the New York Jets in the swamps of Jersey, where people get whacked, and so do the Jets historically. They've had a swamp stink our entire lives. Hard ever to pick the Jets unless they're getting 6.5 points in a divisional game. And we know, Ben, you're a points whore. What are you going to do here?
Well, yeah, that's correct, Tom. And they don't kill people in Jersey; they just drop the bodies off in Jersey. Get that right, Tom.
True.
Come on. It's a bad job by you.
That's
Now,
true.
this was 7. It was, I think, 8 at one point when the original line came out. Buffalo was a huge favorite here. It's not past where I like it to be at the 7, but I am going to take the Jets in this game. I actually love the Jets in this game. They went toe-to-toe with the Steelers. The Bills have struggled historically in East Rutherford, New Jersey. They have PTSD from that old show, The Sopranos, back in the day. But the Bills won their Super Bowl last week against the Ravens. They dramatic come from behind. Your Buffalo Bills, Tom, the team of your youth, came back there, final seconds, a ridiculous comeback.
What a game.
You're not supposed to play again after your Super Bowl, Tom. So they got to come back here. And the Jets defense was on the ropes last week. However,
so you're saying it's a letdown game for the Bills?
Well, Justin Fields was surprisingly good. I am not a huge supporter. I'm not part of the marching and chowder society of Justin Fields, but he was good. I'll tip the headphones I'm not wearing to him and all that stuff. But you look at the matchup here, and it's a bit of a sandwich for Buffalo, and you look at the schedule and whatnot here, because you're not really getting up for the Jets, even though they're a divisional opponent. The line on this game's bounced around, but I'm going to take the Jets plus the points, and they will slow Josh Allen enough down, and Justin Fields will do just enough with the legs to keep the Jets in the game. So I'll take the Jets. And what about the penny, Tomm Looney? Let's get to the penny.
Okay, let's see what. Oh, penny landing on tails. Penny going with the visiting Bills. Ben taking the points with the Jets.
All right, what is next, Tom? Where are we headed?
Denver at Indianapolis, Indiana, where Elvis had his last concert. A game with two teams with lots of upside. A weasel cliche that sportscasters use when they're not sure if the team's any good. The guys with the horseshoes on their helmets getting 1.5 points.
This is a CBS game. Kevin Harlan has the call. Kevin Harlan, the iconic.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good.
He's wonderful. And he admitted to me that he's a sports talk radio listener, Kevin Harlan, which warmed my heart, warmed my cock.
I do know that. I do that. And he admitted to someone I know that he was a fan of mine.
Yeah. He said he liked me, actually, not you. All right. So listen, last week was a soft launch for all of these teams. But for Indianapolis, though, Tom, it was really a soft launch. They played the Dolphins, who were the walking dead in that game. Zombie apocalypse football. So now it's the first real test for the Horseshoes. And if you had asked me a month ago, who do you think is going to win that Colts-Broncos game, I would have said, oh, of course I'm going to take the Broncos no matter what. However, Tom, I've changed my position. I am going to take the Indianapolis Colts. Call me a sucker. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid here. I'm not picking the Colts because of Daniel Jones, who had an out-of-body experience last week. Again, this is more of a bet against the Broncos. They're a road favorite. I know it's only 2.5 points here. Bo Nix was a mistake-prone quarterback last week. He had a bunch of miscues, 2 interceptions, multiple fumbles for the Broncos in that game. And the Colts defense is opportunistic. They forced Tua Tagovailoa into 3 turnovers last week. And all of a sudden, you look at Bo Nix, last 5 starts going back to last year. He's 1-4 against the spread, losing 3 straight road starts against the spread. And Denver playing what was the NFL's worst team the previous year, the Tennessee Titans. They didn't cover the spread. They had issues in that game, even though they won the game. So they're favored. I don't trust them. I'm going to take the Colts in this game. What about the penny?
They're a popular pick for popular people, the Denver Broncos, when I say they.
They, that's right.
And he said, ooh, penny. With the Colts and the points along with Benny.
All right, we move from Indianapolis, where they have St. Elmo's Steakhouse, where all the broadcasters go and eat.
Yes. Fun times.
We've been there.
Detroit, Michigan, Chicago at Detroit, Bears and Lions, two teams with a lot of upside. Bears getting 6 points in a divisional game. And what's your rule about divisional games and
Well,
points?
divisional games, Tom, if you get 7 or more points, you take the points no matter what. But this is not 7.5 points in this game. Here's the key thing, though. If you're 0-1, you're like, well, it's only one game. It's not that big a deal. Both these teams are 0-1, and you do not want to get to 0-2. Historically, only less than 12% of NFL teams make the playoffs when they get off to the 0-2 start. So it's a big –
well, Ben, if you'll remember, that happened to the Dallas Cowboys years ago, and then they came back.
Well, the famous one was the old San Diego Chargers. I think they were like 0-4 or something like that. They made the playoffs. But on this one, I'm actually going to bet on someone rather than against someone. I'm going to bet on Chicago in this game. Ben Johnson, who knows where all the bodies are buried in Detroit, Tom, the former offensive coordinator. And most of coaching, I've learned this from working with coaches at Fox Sports Radio over the years, most of coaching is just hiding players' weaknesses, right? You find out what a player's bad at and keep them away from doing that. Well, Ben Johnson knows all of Jared Goff's weaknesses, all the tendencies that Goff is bad at, all the things, the issues in the red zone where he has problems. And so the hard part is to get the Schmendricks on the Chicago Bears to actually do what Ben Johnson tells them to do and execute the game plan. But from a coaching standpoint, Ben Johnson has to have a huge advantage here over Dan Campbell and the Lions. Both these teams had issues last week. The Lions were like pancakes that were so flat last week. Caleb Williams was fine when he was being spoon-fed by Ben Johnson, and then when he went off script, it's like the paint on his fingernails came off and all that stuff. But I expect better from the Bears here, and you're getting some points, and I'm going to, fair amount of points. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to cover. They will not win this game, but they will cover this game. So
the Penny thing. Penny fools us there. Lands on heads. Penny giving away the points and taking the Lions. Benny taking the points with the Chicago Bears.
All right. A lot of disagreement here. Let's keep it going, Tom. Where are we headed now?
Atlanta at Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Sunday night game on NBC. Mike and Chris calling the game. Vikings and JJ, the Green Banana quarterback, favorite in this game by 3.5.
Well, hey, I like Atlanta. I'm not going to waste your time. I like Atlanta. And the thing about this that shocks me is I actually like Atlanta mostly because of their defense. I was impressed. Jeff Ulbrich, you remember his son was the one that was phony phone calling Shadur Sanders? Remember that during the draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
sure he wishes I didn't remember that. Anyway, his defense looked really sharp last week. Much improved Atlanta Falcons defense against Baker Mayfield. They forced Baker Mayfield to make some shaky throws. Now, Baker did end up winning the game. The Falcons' idiot kicker screwed things up at the end of that game. And I just do not know which J.J. McCarthy is going to show up. For 75% of that game on Monday night, he was riding the vomit comet. And then in the game, the fourth quarter of the game, he was amazing. So he was the purple people eater for the final quarter of that game. But I'm going to take the Falcons here because of the defense. And they're just going to – every game's going to be close. I don't think the Falcons are going to blow many people out. They're not going to get blown out very often. Michael Penix Jr. will keep you in the game. I certainly don't like Raheem Morris as a coach. I don't think he's that good a coach. However, he has been better historically covering on the road than at home. But enough about that. Minnesota also coming off a short week. So I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Birds, Tom. What about my nemesis, the penny?
Let's throw that penny in the air like Mary Tyler Moore threw her hat in the air all those years ago. Shall we do that?
Great reference, Tom. Very contemporary. Yes.
Let's see where the penny landing on tails. Penny agrees with Benny. Take the Falcons and the points.
Okay, this YouTube journey, Tom. This journey. Where are we headed now?
Okay, Tampa Bay at Houston, Texas. Birthplace of Beyonce, but you knew that. One of two Monday night games. We've got Monday Night Football B team calling this game. It's Chris Flower and some ex-jock named Dan. Tampa Bay getting 2.5 points.
Actually, Tom, I can update. I'm going to touch up your work a little bit. This is actually the prime game. This is the big game on ABC. This is Joe
Well,
Buck and Troy Aikman.
And why? Oh wait, they're giving Joe Buck and Troy Aikman this?
Yeah, because it's the earlier game, and then
Okay.
the later game is the Raiders. And ESPN treats the West Coast football like it's a nuisance.
Yeah.
But this is Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So
Really? Are you sure? Okay.
1,000%. I'll bet you $1,000 cash money right now.
We'll spruce this up in post if you're wrong.
Okay. Baker Mayfield I mentioned he had some issues last week. However, he's the safer choice slightly. Although the one issue I have here is Baker Mayfield has not been very good in primetime games. It is a problem. It gives me pause. In fact, Baker Mayfield in night games in his NFL career, he's got a losing record. Monday Night Football, he's 3-6 just on Monday Night Football alone. However, side by side, I'm going to take Baker Mayfield over C.J. Stroud, who really drowned against the Rams. That game went the way we thought it would, although the Texans did fumble late that helped the Rams out. The Rams were not very good on offense. But C.J. Stroud was pressured over 40% of the time on his dropbacks last week against the LA Rams defense. He was sacked 3 times, 7 quarterback hits in week 1. And the Rams defense is good, but this is more about the Texans offensive line. They made some changes. They haven't gone very well. And Todd Bowles, who's a mid-level coach for Tampa Bay, defensive guy, when it comes to this kind of matchup, I really like Todd Bowles to scheme up that defense in Tampa to cause more problems to C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud, he's made 5 career starts within the first 2 games of the regular season. And the Texans with C.J. Stroud are 0-5 when he has started the game in the first two weeks of the season. Now, dating back to 2023, that is the most against the spread or 2003 rather. So that's 22 years, the most against the spread losses without a victory for any quarterback in the NFL to begin the season. The first couple of weeks.
That's a fun fact or an unfun fact. Wow.
C.J. Stroud. So again, I am going to take the Buccaneers in this game. And our friend T.J. Reeves, what about the penny?
Okay. Penny on heads. Penny taking the Texans. Penny taking the Bucks and the points.
All right. Where are we headed now, Tom?
One of your favorite places in the world. It's the LA Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas, Nevada, where Donny Osmond has a residency at Harrah's, but you knew that, Ben. I'm sure you've got tickets already for you and the wife to go for a second or third time. Raiders getting 3.5 at home. Ben, which one of these teams is the bad apple?
Yeah, so the Chargers, we talked earlier about you win your Super Bowl, Buffalo beating the Ravens. Well, for the Chargers, the Slay the Dragon game was Kansas City, and the Chargers looked really good in that game in Brazil, and now they play the Raiders in Viva Las Vegas. I'm going to go with the Raiders here. Pete Carroll's defense looked really good. I know New England's got issues on offense, but they held the Patriots to 13 points. Now they face a Charger team that, if you go by the nerd stats, ranks 23rd in opponent EPA per play. So Geno Smith is a fun zone. I am not a supporter of Geno Smith, as he'll make some big plays, but he'll also have several brain farts throughout the game that'll kill you.
Still hasn't proven anything to you yet, huh?
Yeah, no, he's proven he's not very good. But the Raiders are home underdogs, and the sharp bettors are fading the Chargers here after that win, very emotional win against Kansas City. Now, the magic number for Las Vegas, Tom, and you let your buddy JT the Brick know this. The magic number is 24. In Justin Herbert's career, the Chargers quarterback, when his defense allows 24 points or fewer, he is 34-12 straight up. 34-12 straight up. When his defense allows more than 24 points, he's 13-29 straight up. So that's the magic number for him. I'm going to take the team from Viva Las Vegas here. I'm going against Jim Harbaugh, who has been great with the Chargers against the spread. He's 13-5, 13-5-1 against the spread. But I'm going to take Geno Smith, believe it or not, who's actually...
Whoa. Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the favorite Chargers. Penny taking the hometown Raiders and the points.
All right, Tom. And where are we going now, Tom?
Well, Benny, we'll go to a loony bump. here in the C block. Benny and the Penny pick every game here on the show. Just some of the games end up hanging out in the green room. Here's the picks in the green room games. Ben, let's bring it up. Can we have the our graphics team bring that up? Yes.
All right, there they are.
Okay, Benny and the Penny agreeing on the Saints and the Jaguars. Benny and the Penny differ in the other games. Ben loves the points and the Browns and Titans. Penny taking Carolina and the points. Benny, in a rare move, going away from the points and taking the Cardinals. Interesting. Well, Ben, it looks like you've stuck to your habit of taking points this week. We'll see how that goes. But they're hollering in our ears to hurry up, hurry up. So before we go, make it make sense.
Yeah, so quickly, Tom, it's not good when you're not even scout worthy. So reports out of Cleveland that Shedeur Sanders, who's number five in jersey sales in the NFL this year, Shedeur Sanders, not even the scout team quarterback for the Browns. Bailey Zappi, Patriots trash, is the scout team quarterback. That is a bad sign for Shedeur Sanders. And another thought, how about this? Joe Flacco, the Ravens and Browns game, the Browns quarterback Joe Flacco, and Matthew Stafford, that Ram-Titan game. If Flacco and Stafford win, they will both end up having beaten 31 NFL teams. That they need to win that game this weekend to get 31 wins. Obviously not against everyone, but close. And Bear Down, a Chicago Bears staffer, Tom, said that the fans of the Bears are to blame. The fans of the Bears are to blame for the Bears' problems not being very good.
That breaks your cardinal rule.
Well, you're not supposed to blame the fans, but he's actually not wrong. He said no matter what the Bears do, they sell out all the season tickets and they make money because people don't boycott. They don't show apathy. And he's that part of it's not wrong, Tom. But enough about that. We got to put the baby to bed, Tom. Again, if you like this, click the subscribe button. Tell two people. Two people, Tom. Two people. Help us out, please.
Help us out with this pyramid schemes. Tell two people who tell four people who tell eight people.